Three, two, one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this could be to date the biggest get of the You Are Not Your Row Eyes podcast. We have the crusher, the OG of Facebook ads, the DTC godfather himself, Nick Shackelford. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Oh my gosh, these intros get better and better. What's up, Rava? Good to see you, brother.
Likewise, man. So as always, I'm in the Austin, Texas hub of Triple Whale. Where does this podcast find you today, Nick?
It's finds you at my home. So I'm calling in from Orange County, California. So I'm a West Coast kind of guy, born and raised out here. So I don't know if I would say I'm proud to be a California kid, but I am thankful to be a California kid because I'm over here bundled up. It's like 62 degrees.
I'm the same. I actually just recorded a video yesterday, and it was 50 degrees, and I was in my puffy. I have a Texas thermostat. It gets like 50 degrees, I'm freezing, but like 120, no problems.
Yep.
So you went to school out there for a little bit, right? And then you transferred as well. So tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So it happened. Okay, so there's very short, there's very few goals that you have like growing up. And like, I've been very, very thankful that I've hit literally every single goals and target that I've set for my life. I've been able to hit. And like, that's really difficult to say. I feel, and I tell people this, I am on like career number 4 of the careers I've had just because I've been so thankful. And I turned 31 last year. So the boys, I'm very excited. Like I am on one and I'm not continuing to slow down because we're blessed. We have a very big opportunity, as you know it, like to be able to log on, open a computer, and that's your job. To be a thought worker is important, but it didn't start that way. And this is, I'll quote Neymar on this, is like the only value I have is with the ball at my feet because all I cared about doing was playing soccer. That's it.
I love it.
I'm in Orange County, which means like the population diversification is pretty large. Like we have a strong Hispanic culture, we have a strong Asian culture, where the black population is growing by us. But when I was, 9, 10, 11, 12, I was one of the few white guys playing soccer. So it really started with me playing sports, them looking at me, and up until I graduated college, my name was Nico. So I was like, Nico, like you go get in the net, like you're the goalie, go get in the net, because they're like, all the Hispanics were on the field and they're like, we need a goalie, jump in it. So thankful. And also like, that was my first experience of like, oh, I'm a minority right here. Cool.
How interesting. Yeah, so let me give you a little quote here because I want to set the stage in terms because you actually went pretty far with your soccer career. So growing up, I spent time focused on athletics, team-oriented goals rather than striving for positive marks on tests. After 15 years of dedication to Division I universities, so for people who don't know, Division I is the top level in athletics for U.S. NCAA. And representing my team, I supported as a boy. That's pretty crazy. So for people that also don't know, Shaq Attack he played for the LA Galaxy.
Yep.
And then the goal of obtaining professionalism within my sport became a reality. So you went from this kid getting pickup games with the local Hispanics, not wanting to get on the field, so they throw you in the goal. And then you take all of that and mold it into a literal pro career.
Thank you for leading me into this because it's funny. I forget the quote, but I know where that's from. Like you can choose 2 paths, especially in like the States. Like you can be an intellect, you can be an athlete, but like it's hard to be both and be really good at both. At least that's the story that I told myself, and that's what I'm sticking to it. So I told myself, I was like, I'm not going to university, which was University of California, Berkeley, which is to this day probably one of the most pristine colleges, public schools in states, or at least in California. That's for damn sure.
Very good state school. No, it's a really good state school. Yeah.
So I put the time and effort into it to play sports, got the marks that I needed, but didn't excel in the school. But I was like, that's cool. I'm going to let this, and it's kind of important, like to know the vehicle that I used and where I needed to get out of that car at that right time. That's how that's my analogy, is like the vehicle that I used to get to the next step or next stop was sports. That took me to Berkeley. And then that was my first experience of going like right player, wrong organization, which is like a pretty consistent theme in my life of like, I'm the right person, but it's not the right system for me. And that was the first time I realized that the coach told me like, Shaq, listen, you're a great locker room guy. You're fantastic. You're just not going to play. We love to have you. You can stay. Like, you're good vibes, good energy, dude. But you're never going to play. And I'm sitting here going like, dude, I went to the school. Yeah, it's cool, but I went to school to play. What am I going to do? Which put me over to the next school, which was St. Louis University, SLU, which is where I got very fortunate, got to play all my years. I got 3 years there. And then that led me to, what am I going to do with my life? Like, cool, I want to play. So I came back, and it's actually funny to this day. Like, you can look up Nick Shackelford highlights, and it's the same tape that I sent into the Galaxy to get me to the tryout. It's still live today. And every once in a while, because there's all the other marketing videos, and every once in a while you have like one of my friends or like somebody in the space that we know is like, bro, you're way better at goalie than Facebook ads. And I was like, get out of here. What are you doing? So it's some funny shit, dude.
That's amazing. So you actually sent, I didn't know any of this. So this was super on you then. So it wasn't even that you were recruited. You actually sent in tape to come to tryouts to then make the team. That's
oh my God. Dude, because
that's like Pitbull style shit, man. That's awesome.
At the time of this, right? There's the traditional American way is like, you go to college, you go to combine, you go get in, you get drafted, you go earn your stripes, and you go. Soccer wasn't at the time as ahead of where like the NFL combine is or where the NBA combine is. Like, they have true like farm leagues to push. Soccer was just developing that. They have that all over the world, like everywhere but States. It just didn't hit. And so that time I was like, I needed to, and listen, you get what you negotiate, not what you deserve. So I take that very personal, and closed mouths don't get fed. If you want to go get it, like, you have to go get it. So I'm saying like, fuck it. I can either stay here and train, or I can start setting film out of like the things. And if I go back and look at it, you can clearly see that like I understood the position. Like I was a goalkeeper. There's very few elements of a goalkeeper that people need to see. The command of the box, you have good hands, shot stopping, distribution, communication. So like every single thing is structured in that way. So when I send a tape, it's less than a minute long. They have all the good details, and that was done deal. That got me foot in the door. And I was like, dude, if I get in, you're never going to get rid of me. I'm in it. Little did I know, it's actually very easy to get rid of a player. And so when I spent 2 years with the LA Galaxy, and at this time, like my fiance, we've been together since high school. And I was sitting there, we did long distance. She was San Francisco, I was St. Louis. And we got to the point, she was like, babe, I trust me, I love you. I support your dreams, but I'm not doing another year of long distance. I'm sorry. And I go, interesting. This is like the love of my life. How am I going to keep this? How am I going to do this? But I also know that like I didn't have any worth or value other than playing sports. That was like it. That's what I thought my cap was. So I go, all right, babe, I'm done. I'll go coach. And I'll do privates. Like usually if a pro don't make it, you go do two things. You go join a local team, or you go coach a university. That's it. You don't really get much other options. So that's what I did. Locally to Orange County, you have Mater Dei High School, which is a private school. You have Villa Park High School, which is where my alma mater was. And then you have like local teams, Irvine Strikers, Patadores, places that I did my boyhood sports there. So I went back and I was coaching. I was like, damn, dude, I'm gonna make 60 G's top and maybe a couple programs if I do this. And I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna hit any sort of target or any sort of metrics. Walk in this angel of a woman, Rachel Pwepke. Rachel Pwepke was the main person that gave me the introduction, because she at the time was the CMO of PepsiCo products on the syrup side, which I don't know, not many people know this. There's a syrup side and there's a bottle side. The syrup side is restaurants, BJ's, Wahoo's, Pizza Hut, Jets. And then there's the bottles, which is like the bottles, like you go to the grocery store.
Distributors, retailers kind of thing. God, I didn't know that.
Contracts are negotiated. So, okay. Every year, Pepsi has an allocation of a budget, co-marketing dollars is what they call it. We have co-marketing dollars in like corporate America buttoned up terms. We have co-marketing dollars to partner with BJ's, Wahoo's, and let's do an activation so we can sell more syrup. So that's like where you get buy these tacos and get a free cup on us, or free Pepsi on us. That's great. That's what they want. So I sat down there and I'm like, I asked her, I was like, Rachel, I'm training her daughter Ava, and we're doing goalie training. And after everything, I was always like, yeah, like I love marketing, I love this, I love that. And she goes like, yeah, how about you come into the office in Lake Forest, which is like a city by us, come out of the office and just like sit in, ask questions. And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing that. So listen, Rob, listen to this. I have my old computer that I had in university, call it like in St. Louis, and I would go early to the practice because if you're a coach, you basically drive. I have a Prius because it's got the biggest trunk space, best gas mileage. I have no money, so I would drive early, hotspot my phone to start building presentations in the car before I go coach and kick soccer balls at the kids. Drive to Lake Forest, sit there on the Wi-Fi in the parking lot, finish the rest of the deck, change my clothes out of soccer like coaching gear into like the nicest pair of jeans and a button-up shirt that I had, and went and go sit in meetings. That was life. That was like the only thing that I thought I had, because I was like, that's the opportunity at hand to get me out of being a coach.
That's wild, dude. That's so fascinating too, because every time I encounter somebody that is at like a fairly high pinnacle of success, which I would consider you at,
Cheers.
you always forget the hustle, right? Like people I always found it funny with success where there's kind of like two stages of it where people will either ascribe like, oh, you're not going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then when you do it, they make up all these reasons that you did it. You're like, none of that had to do with anything, dude. One, I probably got really lucky, but the other thing, I worked my ass off. Like there's always been this kind of hard work. And the other thing that I've derived from it too, there's a lot of people that bet on themselves essentially, where it's like, I'm going to take a short-term loss in economics. Like it just is what it is. But the time that I'm doing that, I'm not playing video games or doing something like that's non-compounding. I'm figuring out ways that I can generate value for people. And now you can start to flip the leverage where it's like you have all this value generative capability. And then when that opportunity does arise, you're prepared for it, versus if an opportunity comes around and you weren't in that hustle mode, you wouldn't have the capabilities to satisfy the ask.
You're so spot on that, because if you're training yourself, and this goes for anything, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Right? Like if you're just in it, you're like, listen, I don't know what's happening, but like I'm down to put in this work. If it just hits the groove and you're just continuing to take it on and run with it, that's the and honestly, I'm not gonna fucking lie. A lot of this stuff that I've been doing, a lot of this from 2015, 2013, 2014, like all this, it's the same energy. It's the same path. Like I've only slightly veered off for two reasons. One, I need a partner here. I can't do this. I need this industry here. I can't do that without you or an introduction. Continue to go. Everything else has been the same path forward: paid social, community, and content. That's the same thing it's been since 2013. Yet, like, I hit the scene in 2017, and they're all like, "Where's this kid been?" I'm like, "Cheers! I've been waiting, dude. I didn't have anything to talk about, but here we go, man."
It's so funny. Man.
Rob, it blows me. Let me tell you this one, dude. I know what happens when opportunity comes to you and you don't necessarily know or when you're ready for it, but you just trust that like if the number one investment is in your name and your reputation. So as long as I care and continue to put steps forward, it's just going to work out. And bro, that's the theme of my life.
Man, I love it. There's also something that I get from, again, high achievers as well, is this, and I don't want it sound condescending to other people, but there's this kind of destined for greatness attitude. And like, you might not be great right now, but every day you're getting up and you're sharpening the saw, you're sharpening the saw, you're sharpening the saw. And actually, there's a kind of small digression here, but there's a fantastic documentary on Rick James called Bitchin' on Showtime. Talk about a wild, wild dude. But I didn't realize Rick James like had a really long path to like superstardom. Like he was in all these things, and I just knew him as the actual Rick James stuff. And one of the things, kind of, I'll land the plane here, was when they were talking to him, and he was like selling out, 100,000 person arenas. He was like, I was already famous in my head. I was already there. The world just hasn't caught up to me. And I was just like, wow, man, there's something. You definitely have to balance it with arrogance, right? Like there's certain, like humility will also get you a really long way. And that was kind of his downfall as well, as drugs and other stuff. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. But the too long didn't read there is there's just something about betting on yourself and understanding that maybe it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, but all these steps get me into a better place, that when I can make the jump, I will, and I'm capable of it, because if not, you just waste all this time in theory land. And that's what I see unsuccessful people, where, especially when they're smart, they have this ability to rationalize why they shouldn't do something, or why it's going to fail, or why, and it quite possibly could, but that's not the point right now. Like right now, I think of life in kind of two different frames. You either have more time than money, or you have more money than time. When you're in the former and you have more time than money, it's not necessarily a horrible place to be, because I've always said this time period, there's never been a worse time to be average and never been a better time to be exceptional. Back in the day, you could be average and you get a house, you get a wife, everything's happy, you have a car, you're living a good life. You go to the factory, you clock in and out. It's really challenging to be average nowadays, but if you have that drive and you have that ability to actionalize yourself and be your own boss in a way and start to create value through all these different channels, especially if they're free, man, you can really move and have economic prosperity that pretty much has been unseen before. Because if not, you'd have to get some weird pedigreed credentials, or you have to do this. Like, there were so many gatekeepers to wealth that have basically evaporated because of the internet.
Well, you were so spot on there. Like it goes back to the ethos of like closed mouths don't get fat. Like if you want it, go get it. Like so the journey of marketing, it took me from Pepsi to Apple, from Apple to Tim Bird's agency, that to Common Thread to where I'm at now. And every single time it's been somebody else putting me on or putting me up, making sure I delivered and be like, can I go? Am I good? Awesome. Thanks so much. Like, I remember when Taylor and I left each other, like Taylor, we did some crazy stuff at Common Thread. Like we broke records. We were growing this craziest time of like, I'll never get that time back. And I'm grateful for it every single day. These guys, like you see them all over Twitter. Like there's a reason why they are the way they are and they have the big, because they've been doing it for years on a level that like it's really difficult to get to. And we just finished an agency event in Atlanta, where it was all agency owners that are like, we just did our first 100 G's, we just did our first 250, like, or we're building the team or whatever, like different stages. And people keep asking, like, dude, there's a consistency that people need to know that like, that is a person to bet on. Like when it's not necessarily the what you're doing, it's the amount and how long you've been doing it, because they're going to make a bet on who's going to be doing the longest. Like I've seen downturns, I've seen upturns, I've spent the money, I've been through good brands or bad brands. Our team has as well. I'm going to make a bet. Like if this person's going to navigate me through this, damn well, I'm going to partner with this guy. Like we all went through this pandemic. No one's done this before. Guess what? Now as the further the more we get away from that initial 2020, 2021 year, now we have that in our back pocket. I'm like, yo, we've been through this before. We know what this looks like. Cool. If that happens again, we're ready to take on or ready to support other brands. And it blows me away that people will, and actually it's Eddie Malouf gave me this. He's like, I won't follow my friends, or I won't, he will, but I'll land this plane as well. I won't follow a new person on like another channel unless I see them posting for at least 3 months. Because why am I going to go commit to this person or engage with this person and they're going to be gone in a couple of weeks? That's just this other like thing to remind yourself or remember, like when you're going to surround yourself with others that you want to like measure yourself against or build with, they better be consistent. They better show up on more often days than not.
Gosh, I love that, man. And it sounds chintzy and it sounds a little bit of like the, if you want to be rich, don't be poor advice. But man, I cannot like hammer that point home more. Like action breeds action breeds action. Like just do it. Get out of the theory land. Like there's just the other thing about living in that theory land too is like the map isn't the territory. Where like you have this beautiful theory and then you get punched in the face with reality where it's like, oh, that doesn't work. Oh, this brand actually doesn't have that hooked up and they're never going to hook it up because of some, architectural impediment. So now you have to move around this. And there's just so many things. And I actually, the one thing I really, really love about that too is, so Nietzsche, obviously a super crazy guy, but one of my kind of favorite philosophers, thinkers, he would actually wish ill will upon people he was fond of. And the reason or logic behind it was you really don't know who you are until you've been in it. You can always say you're the guy that's going to run into the fire. You can always say you're the guy that's going to do this or gal that's going to do this. But until that actual hardship hits you, you have no clue who you are. And that's why I really like actually like working out and things like that, where I think it's almost coming back full circle of, instead of getting ready, stay ready.
Yep.
Like being able to expose yourself to uncomfortable situations, and physically is really the quickest way to do that. I mean, mentally it's also helpful, but you can get that mental uncomfortability when you're in a physically exhausted state, like working out and stuff like that. And then the more you realize it's not that bad, I'm okay, I can get through this. And that resiliency compiled and built with humbleness and empathy, as well as value for value, like helping others. When I kind of to your path, dude, when I was younger, man, I was building websites for cheap or either no money, basically like spec work, doing all this stuff. But all these things start to, compound. And then the next thing you know, you're selling $10,000 websites when you were making $500. And it happens faster than you or slower than you think and faster than you think. But man, I'm all jacked up now. It's like a Tony Robbins concert here. I love it.
I'm with you.
So if you had to kind of extract maybe like resources or frameworks, or kind of, because you're one of the most happy, productive people I know, how do you keep that machine going? Or is there any kind of method to the madness? Do you have routines or frameworks? Or like, how do you think of your day, week, getting things done? Can you give people some color on that?
Yeah, I'll give a little bit of context of, like, I think like my normal consumption or my normal habit. Zero alcohol all my life since high school.
Nice.
That was like a non-negotiable with me. So it's done. I was consuming cannabis up until about 2 years ago. Because I thought it was important, because I thought it made me creative. I thought this. No consumption of cannabis. I'll indulge in the gummy every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But that was important, because I thought it actually helped me, and it was like I was convincing myself that was important. No Adderall consumption. That was something that was a part of my life at the beginning, because I thought that's what high achievers or high performers needed to get through the day. Same, all numbness, right? Like all things that weren't important. I'm a 5:45 riser. I'm at the desk by 6:15. My morning hours are my best hours. I know that. Like it hits 6, 7, 8, and the decision fatigue is there. The thought work is there. Like I'm out. Like my brain is done. I am on all channels, Facebook, Instagram, but I'm not consuming all channels. So this is something that like I use the channels in which they're meant for, which is strategic distribution of content, dependent on the goal that channel or that month needs. Someone I'll call out on this is Chase Diamond, right? He's very intentional. He's very specific on how he's sharing and the consistency and the cadence of this. This is something that we challenge ourselves to for this year and last year, and we'll continue to challenge ourselves across this. So being really, really consistent on the distribution of content, that's my Monday. Monday is planning and scheduling all the content across channels. So when it's time to share, I can just grab it and go and just focus on that 20, 30, 40 minutes of engaging. That's something not enough people do. That's something that Triple does fucking fantastic. They partner with the right people to keep the name and the reputation continue to build, which is something that's really I have to give credit to you guys, and unfortunate that I have to say this in front of everybody here, but you guys have built a machine of buzz across every avenue, specifically on Twitter, but it's growing elsewhere now. That is really, really impressive, because not many people understand the B2B influencing level that you guys have, that's generated literal dollars in the millions that you guys are entitled to. So I have to call that out immediately for you guys. So well done. I don't know if you had any input here, but if you did, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. A little dirty pool. You're trying to soften me up for a rapid fire. I'm not taking the bait, Shaq. I'm not taking the bait.
So I would say I have. Up until this point, I wasn't using an assistant. Assistant's been the best thing for me for all my follow-ups. I was the main person handling this. Get that off your plate, get that out of your brain. I have partners in every business I have. So Geek Out is James, Structured is Chase, Jake, David, and Amelia. They stay in their lane, they own their lane. And then Constant Creative is with Jake as well. So those areas, my core focus, which I'm best at, is building the community, keeping the vibes. I call it CVO, Chief Vibe Officer. So our company, like the culture, that's important, right? So I emphasize and I focus on that as much as possible, because listen, if nowadays in remote work, that's important. And then I'm very responsive. Like every single person will get a response as fast as possible, as thorough as it needs to be. So that's a lot of my time spent there. And then finally, like I'll share this here first because we haven't shared this anywhere. We're in final talks of our third acquisition of an agency, and it's something that we don't talk too much about, but it's something that we're getting more and more involved in terms of like the acqui-hire growth stage, because we don't, and this is just our ethos at the moment, it could change in the future, we don't hire juniors. We are willing to overpay or pay the market rate or more than market for professionals, and that comes with their own bag of goodies. But we aren't looking to build and train. We're looking to like elevate and incentivize is essentially what we're going towards. And then I don't consume, back to like the consumption, I don't consume TV. I don't consume podcasts anymore. I was heavy, and right now I'm just so solely focused on the 3 businesses that we have to build. And it might not be healthy. It might not be like the working, but also like we're trying to do really important things and really big things that I've never done before. So it's gotta be different type of person.
Man, I love that. That's incredible. I don't even know where to pick that stuff apart. There's just so much there. Yeah, I mean, I think there really is something to be said about figuring out what substances serve you. Because I think that you're absolutely right there in terms of there's some things that people can attach, some attributes, especially positive externalities, that are totally fictitious. They 0% exist. And it's hard to feel that like the first week or two after getting out of some things. But yeah, I mean, I think the clear head's there, the rise early is there. I mean, I think that's just that really is the path. The other thing I really love about that is you know what you want. Everything that you just said was absolutely actionable, non-ambiguous. And I think one of the biggest things I've found as I get older, a lot of times confrontation or frustration arises when there's different expectations.
Sure.
So having the ability to align those expectations just alleviates so much awkwardness down the road. Like there's nothing wrong, especially if you get the higher level. People, no, that's not what we need. And you're like, okay, fine. That's not what we're offering. Like that's fine. But when people try and honey dick you is really when it can start to get a little frustrating, where it's like, well, you said this and this is what I was expecting. And there's just all this discombobulation. So I just think that, man, just the other thing too is I don't think you will burn out, because one of the fastest ways to figure out if you're burning out is be introspective. And it sounds like you have a really, really high acumen for introspection on yourself. Whereas like, is this thing that I'm doing serving my goals that I'm trying to get done? There's a great quote where it says, when you have decisions or when you have priorities, decisions are easy. And I think that's kind of a really, really good way to set up your life, because the other thing is context switching is a bitch, man. Context switching will just wreck you. And as you get into more and more things and everybody's grabbing your time, because I recently did the assistant thing lately, and it's been a godsend. I'm still not as timely as I should be because I just have so many million things. I usually have like a 24, 48 hour rule to make sure that I'll get back to people. But man, I love that.
No, it's, dude, you kind of nailed it. So I won't go. I know we can keep going on it, but we're powering through this. So it's incredible.
I love it. Okay, last one for the main segment. What's one piece of advice you would give someone thinking about starting an agency today?
Partner with somebody. This is advice I already gave this away. Don't do it yourself. Even if you want to own majority of it and you want to keep all the equity intact, cap table clean, whatever, elevate somebody that is a potential C-level for you. But at first, there's two. It's two very simple. You need clients. You need to keep clients. One of you has to be focused on one of them. That's why Jake and I were able to do what we do. That's why Chase and David were able to do what they do, and Amelia, is because focus on getting them in, focus on keeping them in. So those core area I really, really, really give a shit about. And I would say, don't be afraid of offshore work and talent if you're willing to invest the time. Because at first there's a negative connotation, which is shitty as it sounds. Like we have a full team in Ukraine, we have a full team in Mexico, we have a full team in the Philippines, we have a full team in India. We're continuing to build out in Eastern European countries. There's negative connotation of the accent on English speaking is so terrible that I wish people would just get over this, or brains get over this. They've learned another language and are proficient in it. You probably know English and some broken Spanish, because you go to Mexican food on Tuesdays. Listen, it it kills me, dude. We have the number one creative agency that we've ever. I will not go anywhere else for the price, for the consistency, for the thoroughness. They're called League Agency. They're based in Ukraine. They've done all the Geek Out branding. They've done all of our the new podcasts that we have branding. They've done everything custom. Yet people still come to them and be like, I can't understand Anastasia's accent. I'm like, what are you talking about? She learned English to speak to you. Kills me. So I would say embrace that, like understand that. And if your company can't be, if you don't think you can navigate those conversations with your clients or brands, one, there's an issue there. But two, then you get a front-facing American voice. That's it.
100%.
That's it.
I love that, man. And I'll tell you what, man, there's a ton of arbitrage to be had there. And quite frankly, there's actually a ton of talent over in Eastern Europe. We've actually seen the same kind of when I was running my old agency. There's really talented people. And what's really cool, too, is as you get across these different time zones, there's like this really unique cadence where they're working when you're sleeping, so you can kind of proof stuff when you're and there's this really nice kind of flow of cadence in terms of deliverables. Yeah, I love that. And I couldn't echo more partnering. Man, you can't do it all. And then if you can do it all, you can't scale it. Like, you were the one telling me the $3 million man story, right? I tell that to people all the time. I'm pretty sure it was you at Geek Out. Yeah, I tell it to people all the time. Shack exclusive. It's very good though. All right, man. Wow, we made it in the value add already. It's like talking to a brother from another mother. I love it. Okay,
pretty
cool.
efficient.
So this is why the people bought the ticket. Let's dive into some more stuff in terms of the value add segment. So,
oh man, you're good at this.
What are the best parts and hardest parts of owning an agency?
Best parts and hardest parts. The best parts of owning an agency is that since it's 100% people based in terms of like the deliverables of what we provide, you get to see people step up, and you get to see people really like experience a lot of different emotions because you are dealing with obviously people to people. In that same token, on the other side of that coin, it's a people place, it's a people business. So like if someone is off and you have 9 calls today, you're eating 9 calls, and that touch point might be like, hey, they might be up for a contract renewal at the end of this week, or it might be up for the end of this month. That lasting impression is very dangerous. Second, this is, and I believe this about agencies, and I haven't said this before, but I believe this in my heart. Agencies and service businesses that act as Wi-Fi routers that connect to other businesses, that allow other businesses to grow and other businesses to hire. If it's going to be on the back of a lot of us to continue to power and get people back on their feet in America and across the world, because we're able to provide growth, we're able to provide revenue, we're able to provide hiring for our people, which means that our point of contacts are able to hire or grow, and their business are able to grow and they're able to hire. So there's a domino effect that if you take this as serious as it should be, agencies provide a lot of value and support for the rest of the world, especially around developing countries, and especially giving opportunities to those that can't be thought workers, because the internet doesn't discriminate, and the agency world specifically doesn't care what you look like as long as you are green, as long as you're positive. So I think that would be the biggest one. Tactical one is what I love about it is you're able to see, and you're able to get really, really good at managing P&Ls and cash flow, because you have to learn other businesses, and you're able to learn other marketing channels essentially on their money, if that's the structure in which you're running or set up. And then also you get to work on like your time. Like that's something that people don't take for granted, but good or bad, however you want to perceive it. And then something that I really, really do not like is the lack of respect that some people give you despite doing what you've done for them and building up their company. It just blows my mind. Like it really is. You're only as good as what you've just done. So constant reminders is something that's important.
Yeah, that's a hard one, man. I haven't figured out my way around that latter point where it's just sometimes it just is what it is, and you thank them for their time and smile and wish them the best, because there's no other point in putting negative energy towards any of that, where it just sometimes shit shakes out where it shakes out, and you can only do your best and control what you can control.
The fact.
I love it. You already kind of answered this one in terms of how do you hire and skill up your team. So essentially, you just pay above market and get crushers, and you're not really a kind of farm league. You're pretty much the pros, and you want pros on your team. And man, I can echo this, especially if you have the economics. So obviously, if you don't have the economics, it is what it is. You make do with what you make do with. But man, when there's just such a difference between kind of a junior and a senior person, where I'm learning that at Triple Whale, where I missed on a couple, more junior social people. Mm-hmm. And what you don't realize kind of in a leadership position is, unless you're like other senior crusher coming in, these people need direction. They need to know what to do. They need when you have these senior people, you can just brain dump on them. Like, hey, I think I need a website. Can you go figure it out? And they're like, here's a developer. Here's some wireframe. Like, they get it. But when you have these junior people, they're still trying to learn, and you have to manage them. And I was totally naive to the managerial costs on time and productivity. So if I would do it all over again, that's exactly what I would do. Where just trying to hire crushers, if the economics can net out, because there's just so much headache that is alleviated from that. And there's nothing wrong with bringing people up and skilling them up. I think it's fantastic as well. But if I was going to do it all over again, I'd do it your way as well.
Yeah, I would say if you're wanting to learn and go the agency route, like a Mute 6, a Common Thread, a Hawk Media, like you can take an entry-level person, they'll give you enough to get and be dangerous with it, and then go to a more boutique where you have a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's see. How do you measure success on your team? And then how often do you guys meet?
Okay, so me specifically, and you might hear my dog bringing over the toy, so I apologize. Me specifically, I have 5 point of contacts. We're on weekly syncs, which is like an ongoing project. We're just kind of touch bases here and there. We do a lot of touch bases rather than like long drawn out meetings overall. We will do the department on a bi-weekly where it's like, here's company wide updates that we have going for us. Measuring success, it's pretty straightforward because we have projects that are on a weekly, depending on the sprint. It's a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, quarterly, and then we have the overall year project, which is overall department revenue. That's like we map towards dollars. That's like the core thing that we really truly care about at this point right now, for the company wise, not for the people wise. And then we exercise front of the card, back of the card. So if you picture like a business card, the front of the card is who you are and what your title is. Nick, I am the CBO, and my worth is this. Like we equate it. And then the back of the card is the personal growth, but what I stand for is like I love my dogs, I love my lady, I love community, I love growth. And so those, if you're asking your people like, what is your front of the card? Career expectations at the end of the year. And what is the back of the card? I use Celine, which is a newer teammate of ours. She's like, hey, here's my salary range, here's my expectations. And then also like, I really want to go to Vancouver. And I'm like, fuck yeah, like that's awesome. How do we get you there? So like knowing both the personal and the people, because people are like, oh, work-life balance, like do that. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So work is life because of the path in which I've chosen, a lot of our people have chosen. I just need to be balanced. So work life, that's cool, but I want to be balanced. If I'm balanced, work and life is good. That's fine. I know I can work when I want and how I want to do it. So I don't think you should strive for work-life balance. I think you should just strive for yourself to be balanced. And if work and life fit the puzzle pieces together, etc.
I love that, man. I actually have the same kind of poo-poo on the work-life balance. Like I think I get what it's getting at, but I just think it's a terrible mental model, because if you look, and again, this is obviously one of the best things to do is obviously reference this to your goals. But
Sure.
A lot of like high achievers and people that I want to emulate are absolutely obsessed with their craft. 100% obsessed with their craft. They're working on it all the time. There's nothing wrong with that, but you do need blow off valves and you do need balance. Like you said, I think that's a really good way to put it, where there needs to be a nice tension between your ambition and then a lot of things that matter. Like I truly believe that deep connections with humans you care about is pretty much the only thing that matters in this world. Like that's the show. Like, and it's easier to do that when you have, resources and control over your time and these things like that. But
For sure.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. I think the work-life balance thing is, again, depending on where you want to end up or what your kind of longer-term goals are, but crush what you need to crush and make sure that the people you care about are being taken care of. And the other thing is, what I've found a good sign or a really good heuristic that you are not on the right path is that you're showing up really well for people that don't matter, and you're showing up terrible for people that do matter. So let me give you an example. Like everybody at work, you're happy-go-lucky, you know, people love you, and then you're so tired from giving yourself to all these people that in reality, you know, they might matter, but not as much as your significant other. And then you go home and you're just this grumpy curmudgeon that hates life and stuff like that. Like, you know, is that what you want to cultivate? I don't think so.
No, well said.
Okay, one more and then we'll get into listener questions. Let's see. What's the biggest mistake you see new agency owners making?
Not truly knowing.
Most common or biggest?
I would say not truly knowing the margin that you're trying to operate at. So I'll speak specifically on this. We are 2019, 2020, 2021, and then 2022. 2019, we were like under 3 million top. 2020, we were like 4 or 5, or like 3, 4, 5. And then, no, sorry, 3.5. Sorry, not 3, 4, 5. That doesn't make any sense. And then last year we were 6, 7, and then this year we're going to do 15. Woo! How do you do
Let's
this?
go.
Like, what does that even mean? Like, how do you get there? At what margin? Our goals is 2 things. We want to make sure that we are as efficient as possible with the people that have the structures, the pods of growth that we have. We have a different way of doing things that I think other teams are starting to catch on to. We've already kind of been on that game because we have full service on that stuff. Well, if I'm trying to get to 15, that's completely different than what we were trying to do at 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe it's like, no, you're 2 contracts away, but like organizationally and structured wise, like we already have the deal flow, we already have the business, but we need to make sure that all the other pillars are working alongside each other. So there's a lot of like internal revisiting the goals and expectations and incentives. So 2 things. 1, know the margin you're trying to operate against. And then if you are starting, and if you, the founder, are no longer in the day-to-day or like doing the personal touch, the people that are, they need to have some sort of incentivization. Oftentimes it's monetary, because that's what the company currently needs at that time. You can motivate them a little bit better by cash. At that point, you're probably not giving, if you're just starting, you're probably not giving them like 401ks or these extra benefits. I hope you are, to strive to that, but I don't think you necessarily have that at that time. So cash, let that be one of the main motivators for some. Now again, front of the card, back of the card, know what actually sits heavy on their heart. Do they want a home, etc. Oftentimes it backs into cash.
Yeah, I love that. Man, you're so good at this. You're so good at this. All right, let's jump into some listener questions. This is actually we have the big guest on, so that like people actually submitted questions this time. You're the first person that people have done this for, so I'd be remiss not to acknowledge these questions. Okay, we'll kind of fire through these and then we'll get into the rapid fire. Okay, what has challenged you the most as a human through this process of growth?
What has challenged me the most as a human through this process of growth? I would say you will get pushed to points of integrity, points of there's a lot of money that flows when you do this. Like there's a lot of money that comes with it, but there's the wrong money to take. And so like knowing exactly like where you stand in like integrity wise, or knowing where you stand, like your personal finance goals, you can't let the cash dictate decisions. And I think there's been opportunities and times where of like, oh, I could go make a quick buck right here, but I don't know what that would mean elsewhere. Or I don't know how my partners would view me on that. Or I don't know how that could make me feel towards money. Or like, there's a lot of like these viewpoints that people make decisions around finances, because oftentimes until you get to a point of like financial stability or at the level that you want, you're always looking to get to that level, which means you're most likely going to do what you want, or how you're going to take the path of least resistance to get to that level from what I've seen. So if for me, it's be very clear and be cool and understanding like who you are in terms of like where you are with your finances and the respect you have towards that. Because it took me to 29, 30 to really respect money. And what I mean by this is like, dad did HVAC, mom was front office dental. I live in Orange County. Like parents were divorced. Like I didn't really have a great relationship with money. So I meant like it's a hoarding moment. And I don't think that's the proper way of having a relationship with money. And you don't really get that or understanding of that until you get into a point of like, whoa, all right, these are real dollars. Like this is real money now. So I think understanding what you would do with the cash or getting it out. I use a simple strategy. There's a book about this, but I basically have like 3 or 4 different bank accounts, and as soon as one comes in, it goes out. Like I don't even look at it. So I'm always looking at like $20,000 because I'm like, shit, I need more. Like this is not enough. Like what is this? So I'm always looking at. I think it's called Profit First. I think that's what the book is called. But I don't look at my money because I essentially looks like I don't have any.
Oh, man, I love that. It's in a weird way, it's a great balance between the abundance and scarcity mentality where humans do horrible with that kind of abundance mentality. Like if we have a lot of things, we're just wired to use it because that's kind of how we're normal. And so what you're doing there is just systematizing scarcity. But you're not, let me be clear, he's not adopting a scarcity mindset per se, where there's still an abundance mindset, but internally there's a scarcity where you're only seeing X amount of dollars. And now you have this hustle. And then for whatever reason, if the cats come calling in, you have this little nest egg that can help, paper over some, possible economic pitfalls, which is absolutely how you can take risk. Where like if for whatever reason I fall back, I'm not going to go all the way down to poverty. Like I might come down a couple notches, but at least, my bills are paid, that kind of thing. I love that, man. That's what's up. If you had a magic wand and could create your own future 10 years from now, what would it look like?
Oh boy, fantastic. So the 10 years from now, I would no longer be running Structured. Somebody else would be running it. I'd be advising it.
Love it.
Geek Out would be worldwide, and we would have chapters in every major country that we would then basically be the new EO or YPO, but on like a very like interesting, like weird level. And then I don't need a bigger home. I would like to have more homes in various areas so that we could, for 2 reasons. I think we'll leverage like Shack, like the love. I want to build the Love Shack locations, and that way people can like plug in and see and what we're all about. And that way, because it's interesting, like there's some cool shit. Like if you own a bunch of Airbnbs and you also have cool relationships with CPG brands, like I'm putting all these brands in my places, and then I'm selling consistently like all these brands with QR codes from my Airbnbs. And I'm going to take a referral and affiliate link on this bad boy all day. So like thinking about trying to play chess, like how do I acquire more short-term rentals, and then getting people to sponsor my short-term rentals with the brand partnerships I have. That could be like, that's next level. If someone's doing that, hit me up. Like I'd love to invest in that.
Yeah, if someone's not, me and you need to do that. That's an incredible idea. I love that idea.
That's fire, dude.
Man. That is a really cool spin-off of like an Airbnb per se. And then having the platform of Geek Out makes it even more compelling. That's a really big brain idea. I love that. What is your number one prediction for DTC in 2022?
The number one prediction, the resurgence of Facebook. I'm putting a lot of, I'm like heavily investing in it on the stock market, and I'm obviously heavily investing into where they're going. Like there's a reason why they went meta on this, and I'll use this pun intended, because that is going to be the investment of where marketing dollars will be. AR, VR, experiential, whatever it is. Like Facebook's trying to go there, despite the need that they need to still continue to focus on the advertising platform that they currently have. I know it's going to come back to. There's no way that they can be that turned off or that blind to what's happening. So I'm a partner in We Are Lucid, which is a CBD and a THC and a conscious compound advertising platform. Yeah. Before, this was huge issues. Like you couldn't get CBD or even anything that referred to THC live. You can. There's a reason why you can, because Facebook needs rev. So we are spending significant dollars here. And it's not like, oh, we're trying to hide. Like we're by the book, we're following the regulations, we're talking with the reps, and she's going like, cool, as long as you're green, as long as you follow along and you play nice in the sandbox that we're renting for you, you can continue to grow. Facebook's not dumb. They need this. Like, why do you see all these NFT projects getting shilled across platforms? It's because they know they need they know they need the rev. So I think we will understand. And I think the understanding up until this point, it was really something big in 2020, 2021, really something big that started in 2021, is you actually have to understand the attribution model in which your business is operating within. Yes. Before there was a triple web, before there was like these red track and all these other like tools and softwares, like actually could just get by looking at ROAS on a platform and be like, I think we're making money, but now you can't, like, there's no BS around this. You have to at least know what you're looking at and where you're looking at it. Cause you're not going to get the data that you need in the platforms.
I love it. Love it. Love that. We need more conflict on this. We're agreeing too much. Here's a spicy one. Who do you view as better, agencies or freelancers, and why?
Oh, at Savannah, I'm sure she got thoughts on this. I think
she's a nice gal. She's a nice gal. I like her a lot. But listen, that was a unique take for sure.
Raba,
it was.
I was in the trenches with her. I was one of the main people that put her on stages. Like, I believe in this woman. She's fantastic at what she does, and I know firsthand what she does do. So I just have to go at her because I have that. It'd be like that. Okay, I think it depends on the size of your business, and here's why.
Yep.
If you are a brand that goes, I'm just starting out, I need intimacy, I need the person that's touching the buttons to have conversations with me, you need a freelancer. You need someone that's going to be like more employee with you, and they have the ability just by sheer size, like they can't service tons, so like you're going to get more of that face time. What you don't get with that is like you might not get content, you might not get other services, they might not do everything for you, so it's going to be really tough. And at that point, they're a freelancer because they don't want to be employee, so you have to know that they don't want to be your employee. They might be more responsive, but it is what it is. If you're on the agency side of things, that what they should have, and not everybody does because you know how this world is, they should have access to more information. They should have access to better people. They should have processes that are more efficient. They should have cross learnings across departments and other verticals. And they should be able to provide you options that are very like consistent and coherent. Like your paid media team, if you work with their email team, should be able to speak the same language and plan the same programs across everything. So I think what I default to, listen, I loved our team when we were 15 people. I loved it when we were 10 people, when I knew everything. Now, like, we jump on our Monday morning gratitude call and I'm like, oh, what's up? Like, I didn't know you joined the team. Like, I can't wait to talk to you. I can't wait to see what you have. And it's just a different beast. Like, it's at this size that we're at or the size that we're continue to go to. It's just a different ballpark depending on the growth that people want.
Yeah, I echo those sentiments exactly. I think that there are a lot of benefits to agencies and a lot of benefits to freelancers. It just kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And then the other thing that you could throw in there too is like, when do you bring in-house, right? Like, at what point do you start looking within to bring somebody in? But I couldn't agree on the perfect points. Eloquently put, Shaq. Eloquently put. Okay, let's go through a couple more. What is the greatest lever you pulled to get to where you are today?
Personal brand. So we blindly went into, no, we not blindly, like at Common Thread, there was always this like unspoken tension that it was like Nick and Common Thread rather than like Common Thread's Nick. And like, I knew that, I acknowledge that, I respect that, I see that, I get all the things. When you can build, and let's put it this way. You log into your Instagram or Facebook and like you get a DM from Lululemon. Like, you're not like stoked to chat with Lulu. You're like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, Lulu, like what? But if you get hit up from like Sarah, who's Lululemon's influencer chick, you're going to talk to her because it's like, that's a human. And like, we just act differently on this. Same shit goes for a business. Same shit goes for B2B. Same shit goes for what you're doing at Triple. Like, you are a face of Triple. Yeah, the business is important for sure. But the fact that we've invested 10 years in in Nick, what I stand for, what I believe in, the businesses that we associate with, just did a presentation on this, honestly. You have the layer that is Nick Shackelford, you have the layer that is Chase Diamond. We have the things that we stand for and the things that we communicate against. Briefly, Chase loves talking about Shay and his baby and his family. I love talking about my dogs and like beards. Let's just use that. So we have these things, and we can identify that. Then you do another layer of that. Then you have like, we have structured, we have constant, we have geek out, we have founder. Okay, now my brand is identified and associated with these 4 topics, which lends myself to like, that's like the equivalent of you going to 7-Eleven with a Slurpee and you're like, cool, I want blueberry. And you're like, okay, cool, I want raspberry. And you go like, fuck, I want both. And you're like, whoa, this is different. That's a mix. I like that. I like that before, I like that. Now I really like this. That's it. Like, we Neapolitan that bad boy into what would look like essentially Nick and Constant, Nick, Chase, and Structured, Nick, Chase, James, and Geek Out, like you just start like building out these spirals of levers, which pulls us into the next layer, which is like structured. You could talk about employee growth, business, what we're doing on a channel, XYZ, constant, SaaS owner, SaaS business, creative, Geek Out, community, experience. Like you break all of these things down, it allows you to speak about something that you're not having to lie about because you're living it, you're doing it. You just have to be conscious in what you're sharing. And that to me, it pulls you so much more into the ability to connect and essentially partner with the people that you want to partner with. That allows you to pull through. So like investing, it's harder to invest in personal brand than it is to go like, I need to build an outreach funnel that does cold traffic and send cold emails, which we have to do this year. We will do this year. But now that we have a moat around, like no one could be a Nick. Someone can be a head of sales and close, but no one could be a Nick.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I feel strong about that, dude. It's really top of mind.
I'm going to have to lean into that even more. That's really, really prescient. Okay, a few quick ones and then we'll get into the rapid fire. Is the beard real?
It is.
It is real. Okay. If you say Shaq 3 times in a row in the mirror, do you get a 5% ROAS lift?
Some will say, but what you do get is you just get more facial hair.
It's true.
So that's the contract I signed with
this morning.
As long as you click your heels together, you have to wear your heels. So all the guys out there, you put the heels on.
I love it. Are you really friends with Jason Portney?
Unfortunately, yes.
Allegedly?
Allegedly. I don't want to admit.
Jason. Great podcast. Do you choose your own wardrobe or is this the fiance's work?
This is mine. Although she does own a women's clothing store and I do actually wear one of the jackets that she sells. It's very easy to wear the same thing over and over. The only difference I have is different hats. So I'm Lulu.
Strong.
I will always look like a coach that got off the field because I feel that's my life. Like I will always be in Lulu's. I'll always have some sort of like sport top on and I will have okay shoes.
Just a different locker room to you. That's all.
That's all it is.
I love it. Oh my gosh, you made it into the rapid fire. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we're pushing up against time, so we're going to go quickly here. Okay. University, overrated, underrated?
Underrated.
Love it. Penalty shootouts, overrated, underrated?
Neither. Appropriate.
Appropriately rated? I like it. You can have evenly rated. I like it. Skiing, overrated, underrated?
Underrated only because I haven't done it yet, but excited to do it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. The next one, owning a cabin, overrated, underrated?
Oh, underrated. Underrated.
It's looking really good.
I'm so happy.
Owning an agency, overrated, underrated?
Underrated.
Ooh,
Do I get context or we just keep going?
No, you can. Yeah, absolutely. This is your show. I'm just a witness, baby.
Underrated because for me, for my position right now, the deal flow, the partnerships, the exclusivity, the growth personally and across the team, and the actual impact that you could have on your life and other people's lives and businesses.
I love it. How can you not love this guy, people? What gives you more gray hair, constant or structured?
Structured. Yes.
Favorite city in Cali?
Favorite Laguna Beach.
Ooh, good choice. Lakers or Galaxy?
Oh man, Mom would say Lakers. I would say Galaxy, but with Beckham.
Yeah. He was what a grab, right?
Oh my God.
Like this, it's so funny how the MLS is kind of like this aged league, right? Where you get like these European superstars out of either the Europe or the English Premiership or La Liga or the Bundesliga, and they come over and they still do well. Like
they collect a bag and they just leave.
Yeah, that's it. Laters. Favorite meal and why?
Favorite meal and why? My favorite meal is pizza. Here's why. Pizza is never bad. Like it's really difficult to fuck up a pizza unless you burn it, which is like, okay, like that's on you. But pizza it's a great vessel of delivery for food, a great vessel for creativity, and you can get a personal pie. You don't have to share.
I love it. Any particular configuration that you prefer?
I'm traditional. I'm a pep guy. Just pep and cheese.
Same. I love
simple
it.
pie.
Same. Simple man, simple pleasures. I love it. Favorite DTC event besides Geek Out?
So one I'm interested in that I will be attending this year is going to be Grow LA. So it's like grow.co, but they aren't performance. They are like over index on retail and brand. And it's like, I'm excited to see what these guys are all about, but they are something I'm really excited for.
That sounds fun. We'll throw some geek out stuff in the show notes as well if you guys want to get involved. This year looks incredible. Favorite place to travel to and why? Or travel to and why?
Currently, so the most consistent place I've been has been Barcelona. I love this for two reasons. Yeah, we've done three times now, soon to be 4. I think we're gonna get married in Barcelona. That's the plan.
Wow.
It's going to.
They have. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you.
They have the basilica there, right? The unfinished churches in Barcelona. That beautiful one that's like 100 years in the building and it's still just not done.
Nope. They just are like, let's just keep building.
Cool. Yeah. How cool. It's a beautiful city. It's
consistent weather to California, and the experience in the city. A lot of younger, good energy, good vibes, and it's kind of close-ish to the beach.
Love it. Yeah, I've been. Spain's on the list for sure. Barcelona, Madrid, the whole. Favorite podcast you've been on?
The one that just happened before this one, of course.
I knew you were going to say.
It was with Perpetual Traffic. Yep. I've been listening to that for years, and I was very excited to finally be on it. Yeah,
I need to listen to that. It's been getting rave reviews from the Twitter crowd, so I need to hop on that. Favorite follow on Twitter?
Gary V.
Gary V, get hype. Let's sell some sneakers, people. Let's make some fucking money.
NFTs.
NFTs. Okay, last question. You've made it through the rapid fire and the whole show. If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be? So this is a 4-person table. You have one of the seats, and you can invite 3 people. They can be fictional, non-fictional, dead or alive. Who would they be?
Ooh. Darth Vader?
Oh, I think you're the first to go fictional. This makes me so happy.
Winnie the Pooh? And then probably Donald Trump. To see what happens there. Like, I think the conversations would be fantastic.
That's incredible. That's probably the best 3 I've ever heard. Well done. Nick, you made it through rapid fire. Thank you so much for coming on. Tell the people where to find you. Plug whatever you need to plug. This time is yours, my man.
I am Shackelford on Twitter. Very active. And you can find me on all the socials. We got Structure, we have Constant, we have Geek Out. So all those 3 are close to my heart. And I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. Thanks, Robs.
Awesome. Thanks again, Nick. We are out of here, people. Episode 15 is in the books. If you do want to get more involved with Triple Whale, you can go to trytriplewhale.com to sign up. If you don't already follow us, we're on the Twitters at trytriplewhale. And then we also have a phenomenal publication called Whale Mail that goes out every Tuesday, Thursday. So we would love to have you sign up for that. And that's it. Nick, again, thanks so much for your time and the eloquent answers and thoughtful responses, man. I think people are really going to dig this. And we'll see everybody else on the flip. Thanks again.
Take care, guys.